Welcome, creatives, to a labyrinth of literary craft, where the spectral whispers of 1,000 tales echo through the halls of the digital abyss. You have found your way to the AI Writers Connection. I'm Marigold, and I'll be your guide through these uncanny corridors, your fellow explorer in this realm of literary delight. Today, we delve into the third installment of our Spectral series, Sudowrite's Story Engine Hacks, Tips, and Tricks. Prepare yourself as we journey into the realm of chapter outlines, the intricate blueprints that will guide our AI scribe to craft compelling narratives. Shall we get started? Let's imagine an ensemble cast in a fantasy setting. You could have a warrior queen, a mischievous mage, a righteous king, a cunning thief, and a prophesized child. The 25-chapter outline could then explore various adventures and conflicts that the group encounters while trying to thwart a looming darkness threatening their world. In a chapter where the group battles a dragon, the POV might be from the prophesized child's POV, who must overcome his or her fear and use a newfound power to save the team, adding emotional weight to the scene. Each chapter could be structured around 5 beats. For instance, in a chapter 1, the group enters a haunted forest. 2, they're separated by magic. 3, each faces a personal fear. 4, they reunite and overcome the haunting spirit. 5, they find a map leading to the next plot point. The hook could be the haunted forest, and the cliffhanger, the discovery of the map. In the first chapter, where each character appears, we would provide a deep description of their physical attributes, their strengths and weaknesses, and what motivates them. For example, the mage might be described as whimsical but unreliable, driven by a need to prove himself. Specifying these aspects allows the AI to generate scenes that are contextual and consistent. For example, on a moonlit night, at the stroke of midnight, the group reaches the dragon's lair in the heart of the dark mountains. Transitions should carry tension forward from one chapter to the next or one scene to the next. If a chapter ends with the group standing at the entrance of a dangerous dungeon, the next chapter could begin with them already inside facing challenges. The happy ever after, or happy for now, would ensure that by the end of the 25th chapter, or the last chapter, despite all the obstacles, the group manages to save the world for now. Each chapter should contain descriptors that establish the setting. For example, the city of Eldor, bathed in the golden hues of dawn, awoke to the distant toil of the warning bells. Drivers, guardrails, focus points, themes, tone and style, character development, plot points, conflict, and resolution. All of these elements serve to guide the AI in maintaining the consistency of the story. For example, the driver could be the looming threat of the dark force. The guardrails could ensure no modern elements creep into this fantasy tale. The focus points could be the evolving dynamics within the group, and so on. When looking at the scope for romance and horror action, a possible direction for romance could be the growing bond between the queen and the king. The horror action might be the threats and enemies the group encounters, like necromancers, ghosts, or mythical beasts. Red herrings, romantic plot points, intimate moments, and main beats These elements keep the story engaging. Red herrings could misdirect the characters and the readers. Romantic plot points could further the love story. Intimate moments might deepen character relationships, and the main beats would ensure the story keeps progressing. What's in a chapter summary? One might ask. Let's imagine a chapter in a haunted mansion story. The chapter summary might read something like this. The ensemble of paranormal investigators first enter the decrepit mansion. They begin exploring the grand hall and its adjoining rooms, finding old family portraits that seem to watch them. As they delve deeper into the mansion, strange occurrences begin. Eerie whispers, chilling drafts, moving shadows. The chapter accumulates when they discover a hidden door behind a bookcase, leading to a sealed-off wing of the mansion. The proper use of pronouns ensures clarity and respect for the characters. If we have a non-binary character, for example, we'd use they, them pronouns. Taylor picked up their flashlight, their hand shaking as the eerie whisper echoed around them. They knew they had to face whatever was in the mansion. However, in the domain of AI text generation, the use of pronouns can indeed create a web of complexity, particularly when dealing with multiple characters in a scene. This is because pronouns, by their nature, are used in place of names to avoid repetition. However, if an AI isn't explicitly programmed to maintain continuity of reference, it may mistakenly assign actions or dialogue to the wrong character. For instance, if 3 characters, let's say Alice, Bob, and Charlie, are in a scene and the text says something like, "She said to him," the AI might struggle to determine whether she refers to Alice and him to either Bob or Charlie. Additionally, the AI could mistakenly introduce new characters in the narrative. If the AI is not strictly controlled or guided to stick to a predefined cast of characters, it might create a new character to fulfill a role or action that it deems necessary based on the narrative direction or context, or lack thereof. This could result in an unexpected, and potentially confusing development in the story, as a character that was not part of the initial design suddenly enters the scene. So, one of the ways to mitigate these challenges is to provide clear instructions to the AI. For example, instead of using only pronouns in the prompts or instructions given to the AI, you can occasionally use the character's name or use it the majority of the time, particularly when the reference might be ambiguous. For instance, instead of saying, "He gave her the book," you might say, "Bob gave Alice the book." Also, you can use the AI's configuration options, if available, to limit the number of characters it can generate or introduce. You can even impart some commands that tell the AI to only use the characters in the approved list. You could explicitly state in the AI's instruction set a prompt that only the initially provided characters should be used and no new characters should be introduced. Remember that while AI tools can be powerful allies in writing, they are ultimately tools that work best when precisely guided. The more specific and clear the instructions, the better the AI will perform. Providing clarity in the prompts and instructions will allow the AI to produce a narrative that is more aligned with your vision. Another area that comes up often is unisex names. Unisex names certainly add an additional layer of complexity to an AI when generating content. An androgynous name such as Carol could confuse an AI and result in generated content with female pronouns in one scene and male pronouns in the next stride of beats. It's essential to remember that AI, including Sudowrite's story engine, is in nature highly influenced by the training data that it was provided. Thus, it might not be capable of keeping track of such nuances across multiple scenes, especially if there are inconsistencies in the pronouns used for the same character. To circumvent this, one could adopt a more explicit approach when defining characters for the AI, especially for those with unisex names. Use consistency in character definitions such as, when you are setting up your characters, be consistent with the pronouns you assign to each one of them. For example, if Carol is a female character, state that in your character outline. Always use she, her pronouns when referring to Carol, or better yet, just use Carol and in parentheses put female in your instructions or prompts to the AI. Explicit instructions are essential. In your instructions or prompt, make it clear to the AI that Carol is female or male, depending on, what the character is. This way, the AI has a reference point and can consistently generate text that aligns with this character's definition. Another area to look at are character profiles. If possible, provide a brief character profile at the beginning or include a cheat sheet for the AI. This could outline the character's name, preferred pronouns, and perhaps some additional details about the character's role in the story. The AI can refer to this information to ensure consistency throughout the narrative, and be sure to make changes as the character grows. The key here is to provide as much clarity and context as possible to help guide the AI. As the AI continues to evolve, we can expect improvements in character consistency and the handling of such nuances. But today, we are not at that spot. So, we must be clear and provide explicit guidance when we are directing the AI. Otherwise, the AI will find it difficult to maintain character consistency throughout your narrative. Avoid repeating content in beats back-to-back or beats within the same stride. Ensure that every significant action or moment in the narrative is unique. For example, instead of having characters constantly screaming in fear at every strange sound, the AI might depict a variety of reactions, such as shivers down the spine, goosebumps, a sense of dread, a quiet prayer, or a nervous joke. A couple of notes on adding descriptions in brackets. Brackets can be used to guide the AI to add specific details. For example, within brackets, you might state something like, as the group explores the grand hall, describe the faded ambiance, the eerie silence, and the feeling of being watched from the old family portraits. The appropriate use of characters. By limiting the AI to a set of characters, we ensure consistency and focus on the narrative. For example, we could instruct the AI to do something such as use the 5 investigators, make sure you're listing them by name, to unravel the mysteries of the haunted mansion. Each character must have a specific role or expertise, such as one could be the skeptic, one is the psychic, the historian, the tech expert, and the leader. That contributes to the investigation and helps to move the story along. I'm often asked questions about guardrails, focus points, and drivers, so I thought it'd be worth taking a closer look. In regards to guardrails, Suppose you're writing a medieval fantasy story with Sudowrite's story engine. A potential guardrail could be the AI should maintain a tone of high adventure and excitement throughout this scene. No modern language or references should be used, and magic should be portrayed as a common, everyday part of life in this world. Regarding focus points, if your story focuses on a forbidden love affair between a princess and a commoner, your focus point might say something like, focus on the growing emotional bond between the princess and the commoner. Highlight their shared experiences, secret meetings at the garden, and the struggles they face in keeping their relationship hidden. Regarding drivers in AI-generated content, as an example, let's say in a mystery novel, the discovery of a secret letter revealing the true identity of the murderer could be a driver. You might instruct the AI. The protagonist finds a letter hidden in the library that reveals the murderer to be the unsuspecting butler, driving her to confront him and seek justice. Now, keep in mind that if you're using a lot of pronouns, that may actually confuse the AI, so when and where able, always try and use the characters' first names. Style and tone can really move a story forward. For instance, if you're writing a humorous sci-fi adventure, you might instruct the AI to maybe do something such as the tone should be lighthearted and funny. Use witty dialogue, absurd situations, and humorous descriptions to keep the reader amused. Conflict and resolution. In a post-apocalyptic novel, a conflict and its resolution could come across such as, for conflict, the protagonist's group is running out of food in a world where resources are scarce. The resolution, the protagonist leads a successful mission to a distant, rumored cache of supplies, ensuring their survival. Character development. For a coming-of-age story, an author could instruct the AI to do the following. The main character, Sophie, starts as a shy, unsure teenager. Over the course of the story, Sophie should gain confidence and learn to stand up for herself. World building. For a story set in a dystopian future, you might tell the AI something such as, the world has been taken over by machines. Human life has largely been relegated to dilapidated cities. Paint a picture of a world where nature has overtaken human structures and robots are the dominant life form. Just make sure that your prompts are clear, concise, and lean. So hello creatives again. I have to tell you, I am super excited to cover today's segment on chapter outlines. So this is my prompt number 3, which you will find in the comments section of the video. So be sure to look for that there. It's going to be kind of long, but definitely you will find it there. So this prompt looks a little bit different. It has some JSON, prompting within it. So the first thing that it starts with is it has context inside of double quotations. We have a character list with details of each character's attributes, physical features, weaknesses, strengths, motivations, obstacles, goals, tone of voice, and personalities. Our story is a 25-chapter horror action thriller. Instructions. Create a chapter-by-chapter outline. Each chapter should be divided into Section A and Section B. Assign each chapter to the character who has the most at stake. Now, why do I do that? Because this is an ensemble cast, so I need to make sure that whoever's head we are in for that chapter needs to have the most to lose, the most at stake, because that's where your story is going to be. Now, I am going to ask for each section to contain 5 beats. Those would be primary beats in paragraph form, around 70 words each. Now, this is the trick. With a total of 1,700 words or less for the full outline. Now, if you add 70 times 25, you are definitely going to get, far more words than 1,700, but therein lies the little trick I'm going to show you. So let me go ahead and continue reading. So again, I'm going to request that each section contain 5 beats. Each of those chapter summaries need to be around 70 words each, with a total of 1,700 words, more or less, for the full outline. I want the words to be spread out among the chapters as needed. Every summary should begin with a hook and end with a cliffhanger. Now, I want it to emulate a popular television drama series. I want that cliffhanger to really leave the reader wondering what's coming next. Now, the prompt also states to incorporate red herrings, because this is a horror thriller. And I am asking for romance plot points with areas for intimate moments for the couple. We do have a couple in this story, so I want to make sure that we have moments for them to, have a little bit of tenderness there, because they are a couple, because then it kind of ups the stakes when danger is lurking around the corner. So continuing with the prompt, I want other important elements in line with the main beats of the novel manuscript. So I'm asking the AI to take into consideration the red herrings and the romance plot points with, areas of intimate moments and other important elements in line with the main beats. I'm also asking the AI to refer to the pre-prepared character list, integrating the character's attributes, their physical features, making the character's weaknesses, strengths, motivations, obstacles, goals, tone of voice, and personalities evident in the summaries. Now, why did I mention it twice? Because the way I talked about it early on in the first part kind of was telling the AI that in the context that I needed him to pay attention to the characters, the details that the character list had, and I identified the strengths, the weaknesses, the motivations, and the tone of the characters' voices and their personalities. That is what I was focusing on up top. At the lower section, I am referring to making the characters' weaknesses, strengths, and motivations and obstacles and goals come into play, because here I want the AI to kind of focus on how those characters are going to engage the world that I am dumping them into. And that's why the next part of the prompt states to include the day and time of day, the characters' names in each scene and location. Now, why do I want the characters' names to be listed for each chapter summary? Because I want to know who is in there at a quick glance, so that when I go in to look at my beats later on, whenever I generate my chapter beats, I know exactly who's in there. I know the location where they're at, and I'm also going to know what time of day it is. So that way I can avoid, all the sun dipping comments. So to continue on, I'm also going to I want the AI to ensure that each chapter transitions smoothly into the next, particularly when it comes to each cliffhanger leading into the hook of the following chapter. Now, in brackets, I'm telling the AI, in brackets, add the description for the setting, tone, location, and provide the time of day without repeating any beat scenes. Use drivers, guardrails, focus points, themes, and let's see, I forgot tropes here. Tropes tone and style, character development, plot points, conflict, and resolution to structure the beats. Now, why do I want all that in there? Because all of those elements, all of those story elements, is what drives my story and helps it expand and become meaty. It allows my story to evolve and gives the AI enough information to be able to build upon. So let's go ahead and continue looking at the prompt. I'm asking it to facilitate attraction and romance between our couple and to create moments of high tension and stress levels. You know, that's that horror genre at numerous junctures. Again, I'm reminding the AI, use only characters from the list provided and respecting the appropriate pronouns such as she, her, he, him. Now, if I had an androgynous or unisex character, or a character who might identify as they, them, non-binary, then I would input that information here and I would state the character's name. So anything really pertinent to a character that is really, really important for it to transfer over to the outline, make sure you're making a little note of it inside of your command. Now, I know what y'all are all thinking. That is one really long prompt, and it's okay though. As long as you're being clear and precise about what you want the AI to do, there's not going to be an issue. Now, will the AI sometimes forget some of the stuff? You betcha. And when that happens, I either have to generate again or I have to physically put that content in there. Now, when I'm generating in ChatGPT-4, it makes it a little bit easier for me to use this prompt because I don't have the same restrictions when it comes to length or word count in ChatGPT-4, because I can upload, I can have an input of like 2,200 words when I'm in ChatGPT-4. When I go over to my character list in Story Engine and or my synopsis, where I can actually plug in my prompts, I only have 800 words there. So that's why often I will generate my content in ChatGPT-4. But I wanted to show you guys that you can actually use Story Engine from beginning to end. So now that I have my prompt in place, let's go over and take a look at outline. Now, if you're not sure where it pulls from, be sure to take a look. Our outline pulls only from genre, synopsis, and characters. So that means if you have something in your brain dump that is essential to your story, you need to make sure that you bring it over into either the character list with your characters or that you bring it into your synopsis. Now, one thing that I want to remind you of, just because it says that it's a character list, that doesn't mean that you have to only have characters in here, guys. If I wanted to, I could come over and I could actually put in my my locations for maybe a barn or the forest. So let's take a look at that. Let's go over to the brain dump. Let me find that information. And as you see, I have a lot of information over here. So here's some of our settings here down at the bottom. I'm going to grab these and I'm going to go ahead and go back over to my character list. So I'm going to put that content into my character list down here at the bottom. Now, if I wanted to, I could also put some tropes in there. I could put some themes in there. I could put information about my world if there's lore. Maybe I wanted to put information about the curse. I could put that in here. So make sure that you're utilizing all of the words that you can, because remember, your outline only pulls from genre, your synopsis, and the characters. So again, if you have anything at all inside of the brain dump, make sure that you're moving that content over so that it's not being missed. So let's go ahead and generate, because I'm actually really excited to show you guys what happens. Okay, so what did it just do? Chapter 1. What is that? Section A. That is Jack's point of view. It is Friday afternoon. It's telling me that they are at Harvest Bay Woods entrance. It's telling me who is there. It is Jack, Tyler, Nate, Emily, and Rachel. It's telling me where they're arriving at. It's telling me what they're doing. Jack is excited. Again, the setting, it shows my setting right here again. Setting. It's the woods. It's a sunny afternoon. Okay, so chapter 1, section A. Here's my section B. So what I like about this is that, say I want to have shorter chapters, I could break it up this way and I can have shorter chapters, or I can even flesh these out a little bit more and I can have longer chapters. Now, when I go to generate these, I can actually generate beats. Say I want to do chapter 1. I could generate only chapter 1A if I wanted to into beats later on, or I could generate chapter 1A and B together. So again, that I can make that choice when I get to the beats. But let's scroll down because I want to show you some more. Chapter 2, section A, again, it's going to be Jack's POV. Here we have the Friday night camp. There's a campfire. We have a group gathering. So we have, let's see, Jack, we have Rachel. We have Jack again and Rachel. Now, it's interesting that it's alternating that way. I may want to look and see who has the most to gain here. Right now, it looks like Jack, that this truly would be Jack's POV. So I'm good with that right now. But keep in mind, 3 has a section A and a section B. 4 does as well. Okay, let's go to Act 2. Has the same thing. Let's see how far down we go. We have Jack, Emily. So here we go. I was a little worried at first, guys, because I kept seeing the same characters' names over and over again. It looks like it's alternating between a handful of characters at first. It looks like chapter 1 is Jack and Rachel. Then 2 is Jack and Rachel again. 3 is Jack and Rachel. 4 is Jack and Rachel. So it looks like the whole first act alternates between Jack and Rachel. Chapter 5 is Jack and Rachel again. 6 is Jack and Rachel. 7 is Jack and Tyler. So look there. 8 is Jack. Section B is Nate. Now, I'm guessing the reason for this is because the standard outline here that they are following is the hero's journey. Now, at some point, they're going to allow us to pick some of the different types of templates, like Hollywood beats and romance beats. So there's going to be different ones to choose from in the future, which I think will really, really take Sudowrite, the story engine, to a completely different level. And I think that that upgrade is going to be really great for writers when we're directing the AI. So again, we do have chapter 8 has Jack and Nate. 9 has Jack's POV and Emily's. This is Act 3 Rising Action. We have 10 has Jack and Rachel. See who 11 has. Jack and Nate. Okay, check this out, guys. 12 is Jack and Rachel. But what else do you see? We have a chapter 13 and we have a chapter 14. Now, what did I tell the AI that I wanted? I told it that I wanted 25 chapters. So let me show you a little hack trick. We are going to go back over to proper Sudowrite, and I'm going to pull another prompt. So my next prompt I'm going to have to tweak it just a little bit. So I will read it once we get to the story engine section again. So let me go ahead and plug this in at the bottom of rewrite. I'm pasting that here. So let's take a look. Now we are in Act 4, Climax and Conclusion. Because I am there and it has chapter 12 through 14, I'm going to come down here and take a look. So instead of using Act 4 as the climax and conclusion, I'm just going to rename that. I'm going to tell the AI that to please rewrite all of Act 4. I'm renaming that climax, not climax and conclusion. It's just the climax now, making adjustments to the story content to include. So I'm going to change this. I played with it earlier. So I'm going to change this to show 12A, and I want 12B. And let's do, this one is 13A, 13B. Whoops. So we have 12, 12, 13, 13B. We are going to need a 14. So let's do 14A. Let's do 15. Sorry, guys. Let's do 14. Can't count today. 14B. Let's do 15A. We will do 16. We'll do the 16A and B. And let's see, why don't we also put, so that's 12, 14, 15, 16, 17. Let's go up to 18 in this one. We'll do 16. We want 17. And we are going to want to do 18. We want all of those in our Act 4. So we are also telling it that we want it with A, B sections. And then we're going to tell it that we also want chapters 19. So let's change this to 19. We want a 19B also. We want a 20A. We want a 20B. Let's do a 21A, 21B. Let's do a 22A, 22B. We're going to do 23. Whoops. And let's do, so we have 23, and now let's do 24. And we have one more. Let's do 25. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the extra numbers. So let me reread that. We are going in the rewrite outline. I am asking the AI to please rewrite Act 4 climax, making adjustments to the story content to include chapters 12A, 12B, 13A, 13B, 14A to 14B. We're going to continue that pattern until we get to 18B. Then in Act 4, we want them to do those with an A and B section for each one. Then we're going to move on to chapters 19, A and B. We're going to take that all the way to chapter 25A and 25B. In Act 5, we have renamed that to the conclusion. We want all of those to have A and B sections each. And I'm going to direct the AI to stretch out the twists, turns, and reversals. I want to make sure that there is enough content in this story for things to occur. So I'm wanting them to follow the second half of the Snyder beat sheet to show the action for Act 4 and 5. You can add things such as the cult is chasing the ensemble cast. So that would be is chasing the cast of friends. Let's also say it rains. So it rains on our people. So it rains in the forest. Let's also say that the group finds a cave to take shelter from the rain. But they discover it's occupied by the entity, a demon trapped inside. Now, here's the area where if you want to add anything additional to your story, in the rewrite section is where you would do that. So if you think, oh, you know what, this twist or this turn or this obstacle would be perfect for my story, you could input that information here. Now, one of the things you might wonder is, well, if I hit rewrite, it's going to rewrite over everything that I just did from, chapter 1 through 14. Well, that's okay because you have a little history up here that you can click and you can go in and you can retrieve that content. So I'm going to go ahead and hit rewrite. It is going to write over that content, but I can always retrieve it by going back into my history. Now, the other thing that you could do would be to come right up here to the top and go ahead and copy the content, put it, whether you use Scrivener, a Word document, or some other, writing tool to store your content, you could do that as well. Me, I just kind of like to use the history and just go back and forth. So let's go ahead and hit rewrite and see what happens. I'm going to scroll up so we can see what's going on. Okay, so as instructed, it kicked off with chapter 12A. So it's in Jack's POV, and then we have Rachel. 13A is Jack. 13B is Emily. 14, we have Jack and Rachel as our POV characters. Check it out, guys. We're on 15. We have Tyler and Nate. We also have 16 has Jack and Rachel. Ooh, chapter 17, we have Emily. We have Jack. 18 has Rachel. And let's see what B is going to be Nate's POV. Now, one of the things that I think I'm really going to like about this is that I'll be able to have the AI take this content and be able to write or generate smaller chapters. And I kind of like that for an ensemble cast because it'll help me move the content a lot quicker. So instead of having these massively large chapters that are, say, 3,000 to 5,000 plus words, I could actually keep these anywhere from like 1,000 to maybe 1,500 words or less, and make it a nice little chunk to read from one character's POV to the next. So I kind of like the thought of doing that with horror. So let's take a look at Act 5, which is the conclusion. We have chapter 19. we have 20, we have 21, 22, 23, 24, and oh, look, it's going all the way up to 25. Now, if you notice, it continued to give me the information that I asked for. It is still indicating the POV character. Here on chapter 25A, it is Friday afternoon. It's telling me where they're at within the town. Jack is saying bye to his friends. We know that the setting, we know the setting, we know the time of day. So that's one of the things that's going to help me when I am generating the content. Now, when I go in to flesh out my beats, this information is going to flow over to my beats and make it easier for me to know exactly who's in my chapter, what time of day it is, and how I may need to engage those beats. So there you have it, guys. Now, I will be beefing these up because in our next installment, I am going to be fleshing these out into anywhere from, say, 10 to maybe 12 to 16 beats. If I go up to 16 beats, I'll probably combine some of them or toss some out when I start doing some real heavy editing on the story beats. But that is something for our next video. And so, our journey through the intricate labyrinth of chapter outlines ends. But remember, dear writers, this is but one part of our saga. Stay tuned, for our next installment lies just beyond the digital horizon. It's being pieced together in the editing rooms, stitched together with words, images, and ideas, ready to serve you as your guide on the next part of this literary expedition. If our spectral journey resonated with you, let us hear your voices echo in the digital abyss by ringing the bell. Subscribe and join our thriving community on Discord, where every writer becomes a beacon, guiding and illuminating the path for others in their pursuit of literary craft. Find the link in the depths of the description below. Until our paths cross again in the shadowy realm of AI and writing, keep your pens poised and your story engines humming. This is Marigold, your guide through the labyrinth of the AI Writers Connection, signing off. Remember, in the world of AI writing, the only limit is the horizon of your imagination.